Mom slammed her hand on the table. You refused your sister's loan. You're out of this family. Everyone went quiet. I just said, noted. The next morning suddenly their accounts were frozen, their utilities suspended, and family group chat exploded with one word. Why? I always assumed the cracks in my family were manageable. The sarcasm, the subtle digs, the expectation that I'd always foot the bill. I thought that was just how things were in every family. I grew up being the dependable one. If my sister failed at something, I was expected to fix it. If my parents forgot a bill, I was the safety net. I didn't complain much. Thought I was being kind. Turns out I was just being used. It all came to a head this past Thanksgiving. I hadn't planned on going. I almost skipped it. Something in my gut told me this year was going to be different, but guilt won. I made a pie, dressed up, and drove over. My sister Tessa had already been blowing up my phone for days about a short-term loan she needed. She'd done this before. Ask for help, promise to pay it back, disappear for 6 months, and then reappear with a new crisis. This time I said no. It wasn't even dramatic. I just told her I couldn't help her anymore. I didn't offer a long explanation. I didn't owe her one. The dining room was packed when I arrived. The usual cousins, aunts, and uncles. Everyone was already halfway into drinks and appetizers. Tessa wouldn't meet my eyes. Mom was acting stiff. Dad was all smiles like nothing was wrong. I figured it was going to be one of those nights where everyone pretends to get along. Dinner started out normal. But about halfway through, when we were passing around the sweet potatoes, Mom slammed her hand on the table so hard that the silverware jumped. Everyone froze. She looked directly at me. You refused your sister's loan. You're out of this family. Just like that. Loud, like she'd been rehearsing it. A few cousins looked down. One uncle blinked in confusion. Tessa looked smug. Dad didn't say a word. Not one. No one stood up for me. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I just said one word. Noted. And I stood up, grabbed my coat, and left. No one followed me out. Not even the ones I thought might. Not even my godmother, who used to say I was like a daughter to her. The air was freezing outside, but my hands were burning. I went home, tossed the pie I brought in the trash, and opened my laptop. The next morning everything changed. Their accounts, the utilities I had been quietly paying for years, were frozen. Every little bit of tech support, bill assistance, and backup cell plan I had provided, gone. Autopay, cancelled. My sister's phone line, suspended. My parents' internet, which they had been using through my family plan, cut. And then the family group chat exploded. Not with apologies. Not with explanations. Just one word. From almost every member. Why? I didn't answer. Because that was only the beginning. The group chat kept buzzing all morning. Dozens of unread messages piling up. My Aunt Lisa asked if I was okay. My cousin Derek sent a half-joking gif like maybe it was all a misunderstanding. My dad just texted a question mark. Tessa stayed silent, of course. Mom sent one message. Call me. I didn't. By noon my sister had called 6 times. By 2 p.m., I got a message from her boyfriend asking if I could please reinstate her number because she needed it for work. The same work she'd quit 3 months ago. The same one she lied about to get money out of me last summer. I didn't answer him either. What none of them realized was just how entangled I was in the background of their lives. It had built up over years. Slowly, quietly, because they never took care of anything themselves. It started when I was in college and they needed help with bills. Back then I thought I was just being generous. Over time it became a given. I handled their problems before they even realized they had them. So when I pulled out, it wasn't just a loan I refused. It was the invisible infrastructure I'd created to hold them all up. That night, my godmother, the one who had sat silently at the table while I was excommunicated from the family over mashed potatoes, texted me asking if I could call her. She wanted to talk about what happened. I told her I'd think about it. Instead, I logged into the project portal for a shared property we all had a stake in. A lakeside house left behind by our grandfather. I handled the accounting, upkeep, bookings, all of it. Quietly, I submitted the formal request to have myself removed from responsibility, and to reassign access to Tessa and Mom. 2 hours later, the notifications started flying. Booking payments weren't getting deposited. Maintenance requests were going unanswered. My cousin Zoe called me, panicking because apparently, guests were showing up and there was no one to let them in. No keys, no welcome packets, nothing. I said she'd have to talk to Tessa about that now. Her silence said more than any apology could have. That weekend I saw my parents had made a new group chat. Without me. I wasn't invited, but I found out about it through my uncle, who sent me screenshots. It was chaotic. Blaming me. Blaming each other. Asking who was supposed to take care of what. Tessa kept insisting it wasn't her problem. That she didn't ask to be in charge. And suddenly, everyone remembered just how much I had been doing. Mom finally called. I didn't answer. She texted instead, saying she may have overreacted, and that I should have said something sooner if I was feeling overwhelmed. That's when I knew she still didn't get it. This wasn't about me being overwhelmed. This was about them using me like a tool, then throwing me out when I stopped complying. By Sunday, the house had a 1-star review online, and my dad messaged me a long wall of text asking if there was any way I could just help one last time. Just until they figured things out. I left him on read. That night, Tessa posted a story on Instagram of her drinking wine and writing, "Some people are just bitter." She tagged no one, but we all knew. What she didn't know was that I wasn't done. Not even close. By Monday morning, my sister's credit card got declined at a gas station. She posted some vague thing on Instagram about loyalty being dead and snakes in the family, then deleted it 2 hours later. But nothing really disappears anymore. Screenshots landed in my inbox from 2 different cousins before noon. I wasn't even asking for updates, they just kept coming. Like the universe wanted me to know. Her utilities were next. The internet at her apartment went out. Her boyfriend, who never once thanked me for paying their shared Wi-Fi for the last year, sent me a message asking if I could just fix it real quick, because he had a Zoom interview. I didn't reply. The best part? He spelled my name wrong. Over at my parents' house, the lights were still on for now, but only because of a delay in the billing cycle. Their account was locked and my dad had tried resetting the password 3 times. The email on file was mine. I got the recovery prompts. I deleted them all. By Tuesday, they were borrowing internet from a neighbor just to pay other bills. My mom apparently told a cousin it was just a technical issue, and they were handling it. She still hadn't told anyone what really happened at Thanksgiving. She probably thought if she ignored it long enough, it would smooth over like every other time. Then came Tessa. Of course she cracked first. She showed up outside my condo building, buzzing from the call box. I didn't answer. She stood there for a while, pacing, looking at her phone, buzzing again. She never looked up at the camera. She probably didn't even realize I was watching her the whole time. I waited. 15 minutes later, she gave up and left. 5 minutes after that, I got a message. Seriously? You're going to act like this over money? There it was again. That assumption that everything I did was transactional. She still didn't get it. Still thought this was about the loan I refused. She had no idea that refusing her was the first act of self-respect I'd shown in years. That night, Aunt Karen called me. She didn't try to sugarcoat anything. She said she saw the whole thing at Thanksgiving and had no idea it would go that far. She admitted she stayed quiet because it caught her off guard. And because, frankly, no one wanted to challenge Mom in the middle of dinner. But she said something that stuck with me. You didn't deserve that. No one did. Then she told me something I wasn't expecting. Over the weekend, a bunch of relatives, the same ones who sat quietly while I was disowned over stuffing and cranberry sauce, had a meeting at my parents' house. Apparently things had gotten bad enough they decided to strategize. Not to fix the family. To fix the fallout. Their words, not mine. The lakeside property was a mess. They didn't know how to manage it. Payments weren't going through. Guests were complaining. And I guess now that I wasn't around to keep the lights on and the reservations flowing, people were starting to panic. Tessa didn't even show up to that meeting. She was supposed to take over the management system. Didn't even bother. I asked Karen if anyone brought up what Mom said to me. She hesitated, then said no one wanted to bring it up in front of her. Everyone was too busy trying to figure out how to move forward. Later that night, I got a Venmo request from Mom. $300. The note said, for the heating bill. Please. I declined it. Didn't block her. Just hit decline and closed the app. 2 hours later, Dad sent me a photo of a shut-off notice on their front door. He didn't say anything. No explanation. Just the image. A week ago that would have gutted me. No. I just felt tired. Like I had spent years holding up a castle made of wet cardboard. And they were shocked to find it couldn't stand on its own. The next morning I saw they had made a new family group chat without me. I wasn't supposed to see it, but a cousin forwarded the name of it anyway. It was called Real Family Only. It would have been pathetic if it wasn't so familiar. They were trying to punish me with exclusion. Except now I wasn't the one losing anything. They were. And soon they'd start realizing just how much. But the real unraveling was still ahead. By Thursday the silence cracked again, but this time not from my parents or Tessa. Came from Uncle Mark. He called me out of nowhere, didn't bother texting first. I ignored the call, but his voicemail hit a nerve. He said the whole family was suffering, that what I was doing wasn't helping anything, and that I should be the bigger person and reach out to mom and dad. Then he threw in the classic line, "Family is family." That line always shows up when you stop being useful to them. I didn't respond. Instead, I logged back into the Lakeside property system. I still had access to the back-end reports even though I'd removed myself from management. Bookings were dropping off a cliff. A 2-week reservation had just been cancelled. And there were 2 chargebacks pending because guests hadn't been let in. I looked at the log. No one had responded to any of the guest messages in over 5 days. They were hemorrhaging money. And then came the domino that really set things moving. Aunt Lisa. She had invested real money into the Lakeside house, and she had no idea Tessa was now in charge. Once she found out, she flipped, called my mom, screamed at her from what I heard. Then she messaged me directly, not to guilt me, not to beg, just to ask what exactly happened. I told her. I laid it all out in one message. Thanksgiving, Fable, the sentence, the slap, the exile, the silence from everyone. She didn't reply for 3 hours. Then finally I had no idea. That's it. And then the biggest twist, she said she was cutting off her side of support too. Told mom and dad they were off the project unless they fixed this. Told them to find someone else to manage the chaos. And told them she wasn't paying another cent until they made it right. Now mom was getting heat from everyone else. That night my dad texted again. Not about bills. Not about help. Just 3 words. Can we talk? I still didn't reply. But I saw what he was doing. The tone was changing. The bargaining was beginning. Then Friday morning I got a message from my cousin Zoe. She said my parents had shown up at her place without calling, asking to talk to someone who still had sense. They stayed an hour rambling about how things had gone too far, and how I had misunderstood Thanksgiving. Zoe told them she wasn't getting involved, but after they left she called me. They're scared, Nancy. They know this isn't going away. I could have ended it right there. I could have called them back, said my piece, accepted their half-baked apology and stepped back into my old role. Quiet savior. Invisible backbone. The one who keeps things from falling apart. But no. Because Tessa still hadn't said a word. No apology. No ownership. Nothing. Like this whole thing had nothing to do with her. So I made a list. Literally on paper. Every account I still had access to. Every shared login. Every connection I'd built that they didn't know about. Software tools, utility management portals, emergency contacts. I started closing them down one by one. And then I scheduled a final email to go out Monday morning. A full report of the Lakeside property's financials, every overdue task, and who was now responsible for what. I sent it to the entire family, including Tessa. There would be no fixing this unless it came from them. The parents were already bending. Now it was Tessa's turn to break. Monday morning the email went out at 8:02 a.m. sharp. It was clean, detailed, and cold. I didn't add any emotion. No explanations, no commentary. Just facts. Line items. Due dates. Missed payments. Pending repairs. And who was now responsible for handling them. I ended it with one sentence. Please remove my name from any further obligations. By 9 a.m. 3 relatives had called me. I didn't answer any of them. By noon the family group chat was a live firestorm. Screenshots came pouring in. The tone had shifted. No more vague shade. No more pretending I was the one being dramatic. Now it was panic, blame, confusion. One cousin asked who was supposed to handle the October refund. Another asked where the cleaning service contact went. My mom typed, "Ask Tessa," more than once. No one asked me to come back. They were too proud now. But they were finally seeing who had been doing all the invisible work all along. Then came the real crack. Tessa posted on Facebook. A long, delusional rant about betrayal and abandonment and fake sisters. She claimed I had sabotaged the family business because I couldn't handle being excluded. She even hinted that I was jealous of her, of all people, because she was finally getting her life together. That post stayed up for 38 minutes. Long enough for everyone to see it. Then Aunt Lisa replied. Publicly. She called her out. Told her she had no idea how much I had been doing behind the scenes, and that if she really cared about the family she'd apologize instead of lashing out. One by one, other relatives started chiming in. Some neutral, some brutal. It was the first time I had ever seen Tessa not get her way. And then, for the first time in years, my dad called and left a voicemail that actually sounded like it came from a human being. He didn't justify anything. He didn't ask for money. He just said, "We were wrong. All of us. I'm sorry for what your mom said. We weren't fair to you. You didn't deserve that." Then he paused and added, "Your sister doesn't get it yet. But we do. We're going to fix it. Even if you don't come back. We're going to fix her." That was the moment I realized something had finally shifted. It wasn't performative anymore. They were losing more than money now. They were losing face, credibility, relationships. And it wasn't because I did anything to them. It was because I stopped doing everything for them. That night, Mom sent me an email. Not a message. An actual email. Like she sat down and thought about it. She didn't excuse herself. She didn't beg. He just said she was sorry. She said she hadn't seen how much I did, and that she hoped one day we could speak again, even if it wasn't soon. And then out of nowhere, Tessa texted. Not to apologize. She said, "Everyone's turning on me because of you. Are you happy?" I looked at the message. I stared at it for a while. Then I deleted it. Didn't block her. Didn't answer. Just deleted it. Because I wasn't finished watching her world collapse yet. But someone else was about to step in. Someone I hadn't expected. And that would change everything. It started with a knock. Not a metaphorical one. A real one on my door. I didn't answer at first. I waited. I thought maybe it was a delivery, maybe someone just dropped something off. But then I looked through the peephole. It was my mom. No bags, no papers, no drama. Just standing there, coat zipped up, eyes fixed straight ahead. I opened the door. She didn't say anything for a second. Then, "We're trying to fix her. Just like your dad said." I let her in. She didn't cry. She didn't make excuses. He just talked. He told me how after that email went out, everything flipped. No one trusted them to handle anything anymore. Relatives backed out of the lakeside house. Clients disappeared and people stopped answering their calls. And when they realized Tessa wasn't going to clean up the mess, they sat her down. Actually sat her down. Not to coddle her. To confront her. It took days. She fought. Threw a tantrum. Called them traitors. Said I was manipulating everyone. My mom admitted they believed her for a while. But then they started looking at the facts. At what I had handled. What she hadn't. And the picture got clear. It wasn't me who turned the family against her. It was her own entitlement that finally hit a wall. They cut her off. No more support. No more excuses. No more co-signing. He had to get a job. A real one. Mom even said she made her move back in temporarily. Not out of kindness but control. To watch her. Make her take accountability. I asked why she was telling me all this. She said, "Because you deserve to know we're not pretending anymore. You were right. And if you never come back, we'll still keep doing this." It wasn't a dramatic moment. It didn't feel triumphant. This felt like something was finally done unraveling. We talked for an hour. She didn't ask me for anything. Not once. Then she left. 2 weeks passed. Then one night I got a text from Tessa. He said, "I was awful to you. I get it now. You didn't deserve it. I'm sorry for all of it." That was it. No sob story. No manipulation. Just words she had never been capable of saying before. And for the first time in years I believed her. I didn't rush to reply. I gave it space. I let it sit. Eventually I did text back. I told her I appreciated it. That it didn't fix everything but it was a start. Then the cousins, the ones who had stayed silent, started circling back. Inviting me into things again. One of them asked if I'd reconsider helping with a new project they were starting. I said maybe, depending on who was involved. And that's when Aunt Lisa said something in the group chat that sealed it all. "We've all decided your parents are back in for now. They're earning it. And your sister. Well, she's still got work to do. But we trust you to tell us if she ever slips again." And just like that I realized it wasn't revenge anymore. It was restoration. On my terms. They cut me off over a loan. But I gave them something back they never expected. A reason to finally grow up. Reason to finally grow up. Reason to finally grow up.